Hi, what's your name?
My name is Faith.
What are you doing here?
Well, everybody else is doing here, trying to get justice for somebody who's been persecuted for 25 years.
A lot of that seems to be going around nowadays, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's time that people spoke up, and they haven't been lately. But I think they are from now on.
Well, now that we have Bush in power, I don't know if that'll be allowed.
I don't think Bush will be in power. He may be president, but he won't be in power.
Dick Cheney will be in power.
No.
His daddy,
people
the
are
CIA.
going to be in power.
I don't know. Well, tell the Iraqis that, or the Tibetans.
Ah, well, we'll tell anybody that will listen that, peacefully.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Reverend Kobutsu, and I'm a Rinzai Zen Buddhist monk. I'm a death row chaplain. I've been working in the prison system for the past 8 years.
Wow, in what state?
Nationwide. I've witnessed an execution in the state of Arkansas. I currently have 4 men that are awaiting execution that I promised to be with when they're killed.
And if they're into Zen Buddhism?
Many of them are, yes.
I see. And so, what do they do in China, or not China, but countries that Zen Buddhism is very popular? Japan, Indonesia?
In Japan, unfortunately, the Japanese government kills people in secret. They do it in such a way that they do not even inform the families, the lawyers, or the public until after the execution has occurred. It's done with 2 hours notice to the prisoner. So a prisoner may be on death row for 20 years. One morning he'll receive 2 hours notice. They'll come in and tell him he's going to die at 10 o'clock, and they'll kill him at 12 noon.
And in this country, do you get to sit down and you do prayers? Do you like meditation with them? What do you do?
I do whatever they want. Basically, my job is to be there as their friend and as someone who is in that room without the intention of killing them.
Do you do meditation sessions?
Yes.
Are they productive and they find that they a peaceful acceptance of destiny?
As peaceful as one can when people are set about murdering you, yes.
Yeah, and in many countries, the capital punishment is outlawed. What do you think the prospects of that happening in this country?
I'm hopeful that it will be eventually abolished. We are the only country, the only really civilized Western country that is really into capital punishment, and I'm hoping that pressure from the rest of the world, and particularly the religious community, will do something in order to awaken the American public to the evil of this state-sanctioned murder.
Terrific. Well, is there anything you particularly want to say to the New York Public Access What's Ailing Healing America viewing public?
Wake up, America. Take a look around. Look at your election. Something is very, very wrong.
Thank you very much. Namaste. God bless you. Okay, so what happened? You guys were at the arrest? Just what happened on the march? What happened?
First, they arrested one person that I happen to know.
What's his name?
Narky is his name.
Yeah.
And
they identified him as a leader because he was starting chants. He had a megaphone, and they approached him.
Well, we had the right to assemble. How could they just go in there and take him away like that?
it's NYPD, they're fascists.
Exactly.
So,
Every right is a myth in this country.
well, wait a second.
Members of the Senate, I
They arrested him for moving with while projecting his voice.
Well, there's other people who will show you he had a megaphone.
Yeah, they
There's
asked
no
him
sound from it.
They asked him to give up his megaphone. He refused, and at that point they arrested him.
But there was about 4 or 5 guys arrested. How many were arrested?
Well, because they arrested him first, and like the chaos ensued because he went limp. And so then they were then other people got arrested while unarresting him, or
yeah, I saw about five guys or so. How many?
5 people is what I saw too.
And but those other people shouldn't have been arrested. Didn't seem to me they were breaking in windows or doing anything unlawful. Why did they go in there and take them?
It looked to me like they were planning on arresting like everyone dressed in black one by one. But I think they stopped at 5 just because they thought...
They've done the same thing numerous times. They've done the same thing in D.C. during the protests. They cut off the entire black bloc in D.C. and just basically arrested everyone wearing black in a mask.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's it's a real drag. Yeah, I was talking to this one lawyer in Philadelphia, said the kids were arrested and $500,000 bail or something. They were held over for misdemeanors.
For $1 million.
Please go ahead. Yeah. A lot of people listen to case. Okay. Well, what happened? You said it happens all the time?
It just happens all the time. It happens in Mayday, it happened in D.C., it happened in Philly,
So now your buddy's in jail. What are they going to do? What do you suppose is going to happen? How are we going to get him out?
Well, some people are planning to go down to the precinct and just show support, basically. That's what we can do right now.
Yeah.
All right. There before, and just everybody kind of just share their personal space. And we should love.
I'm going to call the White House tomorrow and every day until Leonard is free.
Corey, you walked from Philadelphia, right? Tell me about that walk. How was it?
It was long and it was beautiful. There was about 15 of us, and we each probably took about 1 million steps, 1 million prayers for Leonard.
Oh, wow. What are you handing out here?
We're having a forum, fancy clothes, and several activists went to Columbia. And there's going to be a report bag. And this is for the 20th of January. We're going to D.C. regardless who becomes.
And we're hoping that we're going to be able to get that done
All right.
holidays.
Hi, you got a table set up here, huh? A lot of good books.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
We're from Revolution Books over at 9 West 19th Street. We're here today at the Free Leonard Peltier rally because we think Leonard needs to get out of prison and be on the street. That's where revolutionary leaders need to be.
How long have you been in business?
Over 20 years.
Really?
You want the real deal of what's going on in the world and the revolutionary analysis of how to change it.
This is Cyrus Peltier, a young man, done a lot for the Peltier Defense Committee, a young leader in Indian country.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of my grandfather for coming and walking with us and stuff. I'd like to say that we need everybody's help right now because if President Clinton doesn't let my grandfather out, then he could probably die in prison. So we need everybody's help. Like call the White House comment line and ask them to give executive clemency to Leonard Peltier. And you need
or having to sign in, and he won't be called by his prison number or anything like that because it's just wrong because, you know, he's innocent. His grandkids are already growing up so fast. And I'm so very proud of him, speaking out here on behalf of him, too. I'd like to thank everyone for being here, coming out here to help support my father.
It's amazing to look out here. I think probably the most important thing that I would like to do today is to tell the truth, the whole truth about what really happened in the Leonard Peltier case. For 25 years, the FBI has managed to silence this truth, to censor it out of the press, to keep it from the legislators on Capitol Hill, and to keep it away from us as the people of this country. And I think today, at last, we're going to speak truth to power right now. This case really began with a siege at Wounded Knee in 1973, when Lakota people from all over Pine Ridge, who were upset by violations of their treaties with the United States government and also by local abuses and corruption by tribal officials, occupied that town, the site of the massacre 100 years ago of hundreds of Lakota people by the U.S. Army. They occupied the town. The United States government responded with military force, firing hundreds of thousands of rounds of live ammunition at the men, women, children, and elders who had taken that town. The siege lasted 72 days and ended only when the White House promised serious investigations, and the people then returned home. The use of military force by the U.S. government was ruled unlawful. Did the investigations ever occur? Of course not. Instead, the FBI arrived on Pine Ridge Reservation in massive forces, virtually occupying the reservation. They worked hand in glove with Dick Wilson, the tribal chairperson's vigilante group, pro-government vigilante group called the Guardians of the Oglala Nation, or literally the Goon Squads. 64 AIM members and supporters were murdered in the next 3 years, a period now known as the Reign of Terror. People had their houses burned. They were subjected to drive-by shootings. They were driven off the road in their cars with their children inside. They were threatened. They were battered. They were assaulted at illegal roadblocks. There's literally film footage of FBI agents walking up to those roadblocks and shaking hands with the goons. There's literally footage of a goon squad leader bragging about a battering he had just given to some civilians and saying that of course the FBI knows I have these illegal weapons. They were just at my house the other night and they gave me armor-piercing ammunition. It was in this reign of terror that the shootout occurred. The Jumping Bull family had requested the protection of the AIM group, a fledgling civil rights group. And Leonard Peltier and a small group of people, most of them children, teenagers, were camped out on that ranch. On June the 26th, 2 FBI agents in an unmarked car in plainclothes chased a red pickup truck onto the ranch, and a shootout occurred. Children were trapped in the crossfire, and everybody returned fire, screaming, "We're under attack, they're here to kill us, we're under assault." Very understandable in that time period. At the end of the shootout, the 2 agents were killed, as was a young Native person named Joe Stuntz. I don't think any of us are here today to say that needless deaths of young persons is a good thing. But we have to remember, today, even the U.S. Attorney admits again and again, no one knows who killed the agents. No one knows who fired the fatal shots. So why has Leonard been in prison for 25 years? This is why. The FBI was desperate to be able to put someone in prison to pay for the lives of their 2 agents. Leonard had fled to Canada, believing he could never receive a fair trial. He was right. He was extradited on the basis of a false affidavit signed by a woman named Myrtle Poorbear, saying, "I'm Leonard's girlfriend. I saw him do the killing." Once Leonard was brought back in chains, she said, "I've never met him. I only signed after the FBI threatened to take my children away and lock me into a motel for several days." 3 of the teenagers were tied to chairs, interrogated without their lawyers, threatened with beatings, threatened with life in prison. They later admitted their testimony was completely altered as a result of that coercion and terrorization. The FBI ballistics expert said he could not do the best ballistic test because Leonard's rifle was damaged in a fire, and that a less good test had showed the bullet found near the bodies might have come from Leonard's gun. Years later, in the Freedom of Information case, they found that ballistics expert's file, his original file. He had done the best test. He had performed it. He could and he did. And he concluded in his own writing, these shell casings do not come from that rifle. Different firing pin. Perhaps the most crucial piece of information they could have. They had concealed that from the defense counsel at the trial. And last but not least, the little red pickup truck that had been seen escaping the ranch right after the shooting somehow was changed around to become an orange and white van, closer to a description to a van that Leonard sometimes had been seen borrowing. Why hasn't Leonard Peltier gotten a new trial? Because the 8th Circuit said you'd have to prove the jury would probably have ruled differently, and you've only ruled that they might have, so no new trial. That judge now firmly supports clemency in a very strong letter to President Clinton. Why hasn't Leonard been released on parole? He's way overdue for parole. He receives human rights awards for the outstanding works he does from behind bars, sponsoring Native scholarship programs, adopting children in Central America, serving on human rights advisory boards, donating his art to battered women's centers and substance abuse programs. He wins international human rights awards. He's diabetic with a heart condition. He's blind in one eye from poor medical care, and he has hypertension. Time is running out right now. Clinton has got to free Peltier now, and that's the truth for us to speak today. Thank you.
Free Leonard Peltier! Free Leonard now! Free Leonard Peltier!
What that really means. We cannot forgive and we cannot forget, but the truth has never been aired. And steps to recognize and prevent injustices from reoccurring have never been taken. The people who were victimized by the FBI-supported goons on Pine Ridge cannot forget when the tragedies they survived continue to cause them, like Joseph Killswright Stunts, who was also killed in the shootout, by whose name is rarely mentioned.
To make it true, they can't justify it, so they had to lie. They paid witnesses to lie, to testify against him. Everything was a lie. And that's why all these people are gathered here 25 years later, because a lie's been going on. And the FBI...
They've been gathering every year for his release, right?
People have worked and given lots and lots of time for...
Deliberately is keeping Mr. Peltier in prison. It's deliberately keeping him there to suppress indigenous people. He's deliberately kept in prison by the Federal Bureau of Investigation so that to keep the indigenous people suppressed in North America. And it's exactly why we believe that he should be released. Exactly why the President Clinton should release Leonard Peltier as a signal that the suppression and oppression of the indigenous people of North America is going to come to an end. And that's what's important.
Now, I was originally simply going to read my letter to him, but because of the statements of FBI Director Louis Freeh, I have to make a further comment first. Leonard would never have been on Pine Ridge. He wouldn't have been on the Jumping Bull property on the 25th of June in 1975 if the FBI and other law enforcement had been doing their duty. Don't we know that? There've been more than 40 murders there in 2 years of Indian people, and no one had investigated, and no one had been prosecuted, and no one spent 5 seconds in jail for all those murders. Don't we recognize the equal value of the lives of Little Joe George Kuntz and Annalee Aquash? The FBI director and the FBI agents, wherever they are equal. Their lives are of equal value. But whoever investigated their deaths? No one. Leonard was where he was because traditional elders had to ask him to come there to save them from being killed. And he has suffered mercilessly for 25 years as a result, and it has to end now. We cannot be afraid of the FBI. Dennis Reno wouldn't want to tell you anything about why Leonard should be let out, but I didn't tell the President. Dear President Clinton, no pardon or commutation of sentence you might grant can have the historic significance of the release of Leonard Peltier. His imprisonment symbolizes the unrelenting violence of our European stock toward the American Indian as it attacked and drove them from their lands to reservation imprisonment in the most remote and desolate parts of the continent. I ask you to commute Leonard Peltier's sentence to life imprisonment to set him free during the presidency of William Jefferson Clinton and whose tenure his clemency petition was first filed so long ago in 1993. None of us will be free until Leonard Peltier is free.
Red Hawk singer. It's a misunderstanding, and we'll do our best to clarify that matter, but I also want to clarify that the group that was involved in this arrest was invited by us, and they have been a supporter of Mr. Peltier. I don't want that to be any misunderstanding about that. So their sympathies, and we'll do our best to organize as best we can, and that's why I clarified at the beginning, this is a lawful gathering, and we have to be real cautious and real careful that. And I think that you people have done an excellent job. And thank you very much. And that's Leonard's wishes. Leonard's wishes is that we make a stand, and make a strong stand, make a powerful stand. But we do it lawfully and peacefully. And I think we've done an outstanding job. So with that in mind, and with that energy and spirit, our concerns go out for the group that had suffered some arrest. Again, I want to state that those people are invited and have supported Leonard for a long time. I want to make that point clear.
I need some help here!
And
wasn't writing very good earlier.
the government here is supposed to give order to the whole world.
Sad and hollow.
Amy Humphrey. Hi. Welcome to New York.
Thank you.
You ever been here before?
Never.
How do you like it?
It's a different world here.
You're used to the nature and the deserts, right?
Oh, well, yeah, I live in the woods in Minnesota. In a little cabin with pouring water, no electricity, no telephones, so this is crazy.
Well, we really loved your music. Do you have other songs like that?
Yeah. They're not all strong. I mean, they're not. That was really kind of a historical. People call it protest, but it's not. I'm just trying to pay tribute to the people who don't make it to the history books in school. And the other songs are there's different power, and different kinds of songs. Women issues and environmental issues and things like that.
Terrific. Well, thanks a lot. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Louisiana to Duluth, it is buried the white man's truth. Northwest Passage, empty ploy. Franklin studies Iroquois. Tuberculosis and influenza, typhoid fever, nations ended. Corpses more than many wars. Tithe is me.
Pretty horse off the malt liquor and join us in the national boycott against Arizona iced tea. Thank you.
The whole world is watching! The whole world is watching! Shake!
In solidarity for the help of our nation.
Oh!
And we've given our strength and our love and our caring back and our solidarity back. Always remember that being a warrior means that you should know when not to go to war. But it also means that being a warrior is not gender specific. There are a lot of female warriors out there who have not yet been heard.
The Indian Removal Act, stolen land, the bitter fact.
In the United States,
Assembly in 1997 called for the unconditional release of Leonard Peltier.
Sacred fires lifted up like holy hands. Understand there's something wrong. There's trouble on the land. Cristoforo's hungry eyes, conquistadors, golden lies.
What's Ailing Healing America? I'm Frank Craven, and I would like to share with you an interesting video about what's going on in the streets of New York City currently, December 10th, year 2000, in a march for the freedom of Leonard Peltier. Breaking windows, they weren't doing anything, but they suddenly just went in there and arbitrarily arrested them.
I need some help here! Why are you arresting me? No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!